Britain in the 1970s was a nation of genuine ambition, quiet grit, and extraordinary optimism. On every street, in every driveway, families placed enormous trust in the cars rolling out of British factories. But behind the gleaming showroom glass and the hopeful brochures, something was deeply wrong. Rust crept in from day one. Engines surrendered without warning. Doors fell off. Electrics failed in the rain. And yet millions of British families climbed in every single morning and hoped for the best. These are the 10 worst British family cars of 1970s decade. Number 1 car on this list still shocks people even today. Let's start our countdown with number 10. Number 10, the Hillman Avenger. Chrysler UK launched the Avenger with considerable fanfare. It was modern, affordable, and designed to compete directly with Ford's dominant Cortina. British families responded immediately, buying the Avenger in huge numbers. Here, finally, was a British-built Challenger that looked the part. Clean lines, sensible family space, an affordable entry price. Everything a working family needed in 1970. But confidence began fading rather quickly. The Avenger's build quality was inconsistent from the very first production run. Rust appeared in the wheel arches within the first 2 winters. The 1.3-litre engine, while adequate in theory, became notorious for overheating during motorway journeys. Door seals failed. Water leaked into the cabin on rainy days, which in Britain was practically every day. Owners grew frustrated. Dealerships grew uncomfortable. And the Avenger's promising reputation gradually dissolved into disappointment. Can you imagine driving this on a grey November motorway, praying it would hold together? What came next was considerably worse. Number 9, the Vauxhall Viva HC. Vauxhall entered the new decade riding a wave of genuine confidence. The Viva HC was their answer to everyone, a roomy, practical family saloon that promised reliability and value in equal measure. Showrooms were busy. Brochures were optimistic. And for the first few months, many owners actually believed the promise. Then reality arrived. The Viva HC developed a devastating reputation for structural rust that attacked the car from below, eating through floor panels with alarming speed. The bodywork corroded so aggressively that owners began finding holes in the floor within 3 years. The 1.2-litre engine performed adequately but was plagued by timing issues that dealerships struggled to diagnose properly. The gearbox felt imprecise and notchy in a way that made daily driving genuinely unpleasant. Vauxhall tried addressing complaints, but the damage was spreading, literally and reputationally. Would you have trusted this car on a wet February commute? The car at number 8 was even more disheartening. Number 8, the Ford Cortina Mk III. In 1970, Ford could seemingly do no wrong. The Cortina was Britain's best-selling family car, and the Mk III arrived looking sharper, larger, and more sophisticated than anything before it. Expectations were sky-high. This was supposed to cement Ford's dominance for another decade. But something went wrong almost immediately. The Mk III's body panels were alarmingly thin, rusting through at a rate that embarrassed even Ford's own engineers. The sills corroded viciously. The rear wheel arches rotted so reliably they became a dark industry joke. Owners who bought their Cortinas proudly in 1971 were facing structural rust repairs by 1974. The 1.6-litre engine was generally competent, but the quality of materials throughout the cabin felt disappointingly cheap for a car carrying such enormous ambition and such a respected name. Britain's most trusted family car had quietly become a liability. The story was about to get considerably darker. The car at number 7 will surprise you. Number 7, the Austin Maxi. British Leyland unveiled the Maxi with genuine excitement. Here was something truly radical, a large, front-wheel drive hatchback with 5 doors before most rivals had even considered the concept. Engineers celebrated. Journalists praised the forward thinking. Families were curious. But curiosity quickly became confusion. The Maxi's gear change was among the worst ever fitted to a British family car. The remote linkage made every gear selection feel like stirring wet concrete. Drivers struggled to find second gear at junctions, creating genuinely dangerous situations on busy British roads. The 1.5-litre E-Series engine consumed oil at a troubling rate. Interior plastics cracked and warped within months. The doors rattled. Water entered through poorly sealed windows even on light drizzle. British Leyland's bold vision had been catastrophically undermined by shockingly poor execution. A genuinely innovative car destroyed by corners cut in wrong places. But the horror was only deepening. The car at number 6 is truly remarkable. Number 6, the Triumph Dolomite. Triumph was a name that carried real prestige in British motoring. When the Dolomite arrived in 1972, it carried genuine promise, a stylish, sporty family saloon that blended genuine charm with everyday practicality. The interior felt refined. The exterior looked genuinely attractive. Many families stretched their budgets to bring one home. But the Dolomite concealed serious mechanical fragility beneath its attractive bodywork. The overhead camshaft engine, while responsive, proved catastrophically unreliable. Camshaft failures were alarmingly common. Head gaskets would blow with troubling regularity, leaving families stranded on roadsides across Britain. The bodywork corroded ferociously around the sills and rear arches, often within just 2 years of purchase. Electrical faults developed constantly. Heaters failed. Dashboard instruments gave up without reason. The car that felt like affordable luxury quickly became an expensive nightmare. Many owners faced repair bills exceeding the car's actual value. For a Triumph, that was genuinely heartbreaking. But the car at number 5 went dramatically further. Number 5, the British Leyland Princess. British Leyland launched the Princess in 1975 with enormous internal confidence. This was their flagship family car, a wedge-shaped, aerodynamically bold saloon that defied convention. Leyland's executives were certain they had built something genuinely special. Advertising celebrated its futuristic design. Showroom visitors arrived in curious numbers. But the reality was devastating. The Princess was undone by catastrophic build quality that shocked even hardened British motoring journalists. Panel gaps were inconsistent and sometimes enormous. Rust attacked the car from multiple directions simultaneously, often beginning before the first service was even due. The 1.8-litre engine was adequate but strangled by poor carburetor settings that made cold starts unreliable throughout winter. The interconnected hydrogas suspension, while innovative in theory, proved impossibly expensive for ordinary garages to diagnose or repair correctly. Here was British Leyland at their most painfully contradictory, genuinely ambitious thinking, wrapped in genuinely awful execution. And the car at number 4 made the Princess look almost polished. Number 4, the Morris Marina. If one car defines the tragedy of 1970s British Leyland, many would argue it is the Morris Marina. Launched in 1971, the Marina was built not to push boundaries but to fill a sales gap as quickly and cheaply as humanly possible. Management set impossible timelines. Engineers cut corners they knew they shouldn't. And it showed. The Marina used an antiquated front suspension system borrowed directly from the 1948 Morris Minor, a decision that in 1971 was almost incomprehensibly backwards. Handling was unpredictable and sometimes genuinely dangerous at speed. The bodywork rusted with extraordinary aggression. Engines failed regularly. Electrics were notoriously chaotic. Interior quality felt punishing: thin carpet, brittle plastics, and seats that collapsed under prolonged use. The Marina became a symbol of everything wrong with British manufacturing. Workers despised building it. Owners despised driving it. Top Gear famously dropped a piano on one. That tells you everything. The car at number 3 was considerably worse still. Number 3, the Rover SD1. When the Rover SD1 was unveiled in 1976, the reaction was extraordinary. Here was a genuinely stunning executive saloon, sleek, fast, and beautiful in a way no British car had quite achieved before. It won European Car of the Year. Motoring journalists used words like breakthrough and world-class. Rover's management celebrated wildly. The catastrophe that followed was almost Greek in its tragedy. The SD1's build quality was shockingly, embarrassingly poor. Every single positive the car's design promised was systematically undermined by the workers who built it. Paint peeled within months, Electrics failed constantly and mysteriously. Doors warped. Boot lids refused to close. Engines leaked oil from almost every conceivable surface. The fuel injection system on higher spec models was so unreliable that many dealers secretly fitted carburetors instead. A car that deserved to conquer the world became a cautionary tale about pride without precision. Rover never recovered. And the car at number 2 was personally devastating for millions. Number 2, the Chrysler Sunbeam. By 1977, Britain's motor industry was on its knees. Chrysler UK, desperate to survive, launched the Sunbeam as a budget supermini for ordinary British families. The promise was simple, an affordable, reliable, modern small car built in Linwood, Scotland. Workers were optimistic. Dealers welcomed the order books. Families saw value. The reality was catastrophic. The Sunbeam was built at the troubled Linwood plant, where industrial relations were among the worst in British manufacturing. Quality control was essentially non-existent. Panel fits were appalling. Trim pieces fell off during test drives. The 1.0-litre engine suffered persistent starting problems in cold British winters, a flaw utterly unacceptable for a car sold specifically on everyday dependability. Rust appeared faster than on almost any other car on this list. Chrysler UK sold the operation to Peugeot in 1978, renaming the car a Talbot. The name changed. The problems emphatically did not. But nothing prepared Britain for the car at number 1. Number 1, the Austin Allegro. And here we are. The Austin Allegro is arguably the most catastrophically failed British family car ever built. British Leyland launched it in 1973 as the replacement for the beloved mini-derived AD016 range, a car with millions of loyal owners. The pressure was immense. Expectations were enormous. What arrived was beyond belief. The Allegro looked ungainly and awkward, earning the devastating nickname the Flying Doorstep immediately. Its Quartic steering wheel baffled everyone who saw it. The bodywork rotted at an almost violent pace. The Hydrogas suspension system failed regularly. Rear windows sometimes popped out entirely during tire changes. The 1.1-litre engine was fragile and uninspiring. Electrical systems failed with almost comedic consistency. But here is the shocking part. British Leyland sold over 500,000 Allegros. 500,000 British families bought one and tried their best to make it work. Most failed. The Allegro didn't just disappoint Britain. It utterly broke its heart. The 1970s were a decade of painful contradictions for British motoring. Brilliant engineers. Terrible management. Ambitious designs. Catastrophic execution. In living rooms and driveways from Cornwall to Caithness, ordinary British families placed faith in cars that let them down in ways both small and devastating. Yet there is something strangely moving about these failures, a reflection of a nation straining every sinew, trying to remain relevant in a world moving faster than its factories. If this journey through motoring heartbreak resonated with you, subscribe to Britain Rewind. And drop a comment below. Which of these cars do you actually remember?